Hey y'all, we're making a chocolate cake today. We call this Jane's chocolate cake because the person that gave the recipe to my daughter, her name was Jane. So we just call it Jane's chocolate cake. I have done a video on this before, but I'm making it today, so I thought, why not? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add 2 cups of self-rising flour to a separate bowl. We're going to add in 2 cups of sugar, granulated sugar. We're just going to set this aside in a separate bowl. So here, y'all, we're moving over to the stove. I had to go down to the freezer and get some butter. This recipe calls for margarine, but all I have is butter, and butter's the best. Now, while our butter is melting, we're adding 1 cup of water. We're also adding 1/2 cup of oil. Vegetable oil is what I'm using. Here I'm adding 4 tablespoons of Hershey's cocoa. It can be an off-brand, it doesn't matter. And we're just going to whisk this together. This is a delicious cake. If you like chocolate, you're going to love this. It's so easy to make too. So I'm just bringing this to a boil and whisking it. I'm going to let this boil about 1 minute. So I brought the saucepan over here to the sugar and flour mixture, and I'm just pouring it in. Then I'm just going to stir this together. We're going to add 2 beaten eggs. Well, I'm going to temper it just a little bit. Temper means you're going to warm the eggs. So I'm adding this mixture to the eggs to warm the eggs where they won't cook when you put them in the mixture. Now I believe that's good. We're going to add this to the mixture, and then we're going to stir it. In the meantime, we're going to add 1/2 cup of buttermilk. This recipe calls for a 13 by 9 pan. Mine is just a little bit bigger than that, and sometimes I have to make more icing. But I love this pan. It was Sweet Hunter's Granny's. This cake is ready to go in an oven that's been preheated at 350, and we're going to bake it for 30 minutes. After I put this in the oven, we're moving on to the fudge frosting. This is a wonderful frosting you can use on any cake, and it's so simple. We've moved back to the stove, and we're going to start out with 1 stick of butter, if I can find it. And there it is. So we're going to melt 1 stick of butter. We're going to add 6 tablespoons of milk. This is a 2 tablespoon measurement, so I'll put 3 of these in. So while this butter is melting, we're adding 6 tablespoons of milk. I just use skim milk. So we're going to let the butter and the milk melt just a little bit. And then we're going to add in 4 tablespoons of cocoa. Because I'm using the same pan, it seems like we're just making another cake, don't it? I like to just kind of whisk this around till the butter gets melted and the cocoa gets dissolved. And then we're going to bring this to a boil for 1 minute. So our butter is just about melted, and it's about to come to a boil. But you want to get all the little lumps out of the cocoa. Now, I consider this a good boil when you can stir it and it doesn't stir down. So as you can see, it is boiling. We're going to let it boil just a minute. I like to stir this constantly where it doesn't burn. I want to keep it moving around. And I think that'll do it. I'm going to turn the eye off. So this recipe, it calls for a box or a pound of confectionate sugar, or 4 to 4.5 cups of confectionate sugar. I'm going to add this in a little at a time and whisk it together. So now I'm adding the rest of the confectionate sugar, and then I'm going to continue whisking together until I get it to the consistency that I want. Now, when you get this mixed together, if it seems a little dry, you can add just a little bit more milk, but don't add too much.
As you can see, it is a little dry. And when I say a little milk, I mean just a little dab will do you. Because that confectioner's sugar just eats it up. And if it got too runny, you would have to add more sugar to make it thicker. So this is looking really good. Now y'all, I don't know if you noticed or not, but there is no vanilla flavoring in this cake. You can add it if you want to, but it doesn't call for that, and so I never have. Look how smooth that is. Can you see it? That's what we want right there. No lumps, smooth, smooth icing. Now this is optional, but I love to chop pecans and put in this, and this is the way Jane did it. And so I'm just using my mom's little chopper that I got from her house when she left us. I think I told y'all it was her birthday today. And y'all, she had a sister pass away today on her birthday. Is that not the saddest thing? So sad.
It actually broke my heart that happened on Mom's birthday. For those of you that don't know, my mother passed away this past July. So all I'm doing here is just folding in the nuts. Mom's birthday is actually February the 9th, but you're probably seeing this video just a little bit later than that.
So while I'm loading the dishwasher, I thought I would just say a few more things about my mom. My mom loved quilting, and she didn't get to do a whole lot of it until she retired. And she had to retire because she had major back surgery. My sweet mother took lemons and made lemonade, and I'll always remember her for that. She worked hard, and she took what she had and invested it. Bought her a nice little house. Last thing she asked over and over is to take me home. Take me home. And I know that feeling because I love my home. I was talking to Sweet Hunter today. We were talking about Mom. And I told him that I would kind of like to do a video, if I could emotionally, just about her. And because I'm thinking her illness might, if others hear about it, it might help somebody else go through it. And I know a lot of people are going through the same thing. It was absolutely the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, was taking care of her during this illness. My mom was not like that. She had dementia at the very end. It was one of her fears. One of her fears was dementia. The other one was going into a nursing home. I couldn't solve the dementia, but I helped keep her out of a nursing home. So I'm thankful for that. But y'all pray with me about that, because if I do this, I want to keep the integrity of my mom, but I want to share the awareness of the illness she had. And just pray that I'll have the right words if I do it and when I do it, and that the Lord will let me know that it's okay to do that. Me and Sweet Hunter were talking, and he watches a guy on YouTube, and he's taking care of his dad. And it's the saddest thing. I can't hardly watch it, but he keeps up with it because of what we dealt with. This guy is helping people, and that's what our whole ministry is to help people. We help young women to cook. We help young women to know how to clean their houses. I want them to know how to love their husbands. I want them to know what home means. And there's a lot of things. Maybe they want chickens. I don't know. But y'all help me pray about that, because I'm not sure what all that's going to take out of me. I'm hoping this cake's going to be done in a minute. I think the cake's ready. Google says it is anyway. I'm going to check it and see. Not hardly. Hey, Google, set timer for 5 minutes. So my cake is just about done. I wanted to tell you what I did with my icing. The icing did get just a little bit thick. I came over here and added some milk to it, and I'm going to heat it back up. This is the only cake that I know of, a chocolate cake, I should say, that you can, might help if I turn the eye on. Hey Google, stop timer. That you can pour the warm icing right on top of the warm cake, and actually it makes it delicious. I'm going to heat this icing back up, and I added just a little bit of milk to it. So let's see if this cake is done. And if you want to know how to make sure a cake's done, you get a fork or a toothpick and just stick it in the middle. If your fork comes out dry, you'll know it's done. And it is. So I'm going to bring this cake back over here so you can see. Now you might think, well, that's not the prettiest cake in the world. But you just wait. So I like my icing where I can just pour it on like that. It's delicious.
You can serve this cake warm, hot out of the oven with the warm fudge icing. You can serve it room temperature, and you can also add ice cream.
Now, is that beautiful or what? I think it's beautiful. Me and Sweet Hunter love that word, evidently. We both say it. I just think that is so pretty. Again, you don't have to add the nuts. If you don't want to, you can just add the fudge frosting. Easiest cake you'll ever make from scratch. Love it. And this is for Sweet Hunter. Y'all go cook something. We're going to whisk this together. Let's see. So so we moved back over to the stove. So now we're back over here at the stove. So we moved back over to the stove. So now
it's time to make the frosting.
whoa.
Y'all go cook something. Cook something. Y'all go cook something. Y'all go cook something.